All right, so let's talk about the review of the week from Jay Barshop. Chris and his guests provide some incredibly actionable and compelling content, spotlighting the best tactics and insights on how to become the very best version of yourself and live a more productive, well-rounded life. Highly recommend listening and subscribing to Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self if you want the knowledge and mindsets to grow into the person you know you're capable of becoming and reach your overall goals as a result. Jay Barshop, thank you so much for leaving that review. And if you haven't left a review, definitely go do it. beyourgps.com/iTunes. We appreciate you doing that. Kasey and Brad Wallis are renowned speakers, global workshop leaders, and facilitators of consciousness, and why we are here today. Kasey and Brad have been interviewed on over 400 media outlets. They have been featured guests on TV such as CNN, Fox News, NBC, and ABC, as well as on radio, Telesummits, podcasts, and key speakers at consciousness expos. Since Brad's near-death experience, they have been conduits for an advanced intelligence named Julius, a higher light teaching group who offers messages of empowerment and enlightenment for humanity. For over 10 years, the Wallaces have been inviting people worldwide to embrace their true limitlessness. Originally, Kasey was trained as a hairdresser of 35 years, and Brad was drafted to play for a professional baseball team. They came together because of a car accident in 2007. Today, Brad is the author of several books, while he and Kasey travel the country speaking, leading workshops, and being interviewed. Through their programs, retreats, online courses, and personal readings, they guide and support people in eliminating judgment, resistances, and lack in their life. Kasey and Brad, and the energy known as Julius that comes through to teach and guide, assist people to heal themselves, offer online classes, as well as their latest workshop, R Factoring, using unique technologies that heal repeated negative patterns for people on a neurological level. Go to www.expandwithjulius.com. Kasey and Brad, are you ready to rock this? They are ready. Oh my gosh, I'm doing so awesome. Thank you so much for coming on today and being with us here for the show, and we're going to have a blast. Are you guys excited?
We are always excited.
Yes, always excited. Awesome. So we have a format here where we dive into the question of the day, which today is the art of being. So Kasey and Brad, how do you relate to this concept of being and the art of being?
Being is your alignment process, Chris, and always expressing and demonstrating your authenticity. Your beingness is clearly defined by how you feel about thought, not by descriptions or identities that people outside of you have often tried to give us through community, organizations, education, and political views. So we always love to say, it's not what you're doing.
It's who you are being.
Yes, I love it. Anything to add to that, Brad?
That
was good. That was great. That sums it up.
It's all good. That's all good.
Perfect. Well, thank you both for coming on, and that was a great start to this interview. And let's dive in a little bit more to who you are and what you're doing today. I mentioned a couple things, but if there's anything I left out or anything you wanted to reiterate, let's share that with our audience right now.
You probably could have cut that intro in half. It's a pretty big, long introduction. But 10 years ago, I was in a car accident and had a near-death experience. And for 8 hours, I was gone. Watching what was going on here on this earthly plane of existence, and also visiting with a group of highlight energy, which we now know is Julius, or have named Julius. And they spent that time teaching me about the human experience. Partly because I had taught them in so many past lives. I was their teacher. Wow. And it was their turn to now teach me. And so when I woke up in the hospital, Kasey, who had been asked to come there by the group, began to channel back to me what they had talked to me about, so I didn't think that I had totally lost my mind. And thus launched our Expand with Julius, and we now teach human beings all around the world about what it is to be human and what the human experience is really supposed to be all about.
Yeah, helping everybody let go of their limited views, their limited lives, and everything that's become limited in their life.
Wow, that's incredible. So what was it that the catalyst to bring Julius into the forefront, so to speak? Like, why didn't Julius just teach you, Brad, and then kind of go on their own way?
Good question. We ask that question all the time, Chris. Like, what the hell are we doing? Right? How are we stuck in this thing?
Well, part of the reason was, and I still have today, I still have a brain injury, so I'm a little bit slow in responding because of the accident. The bruise still exists in the middle of my brain, and so sometimes things get a little slow for me to react to. But at that point in time in my life, I was only able to project or to process one item at a time until it was completely finished before I could get into the next one. And so Julius helped me heal. We circumvented through the brain system, the network, and opened up other parts of my brain, which have allowed me to walk again, talk again, speak, and continue my everyday life.
Yeah, and so it was actually Brad, Chris, who kind of shoved me out in front of everybody. He started writing a couple of books after this experience had happened to him. The publisher was so intrigued by where this information was coming from and this whole channeling thing. And they said, can she do that in front of an audience? I said, no.
No.
Oh yeah, she can do that. I'm like, no. And, but really, I think to answer your question on a serious level, Brad just felt very, very, very intent on spreading information to other people on how to expand their lives. That's what it is. It's a dedication from him more than anything. And that's what keeps Julius around. Julius just says, as long as you want to do this thing, we're doing this thing. It's just a moment for them. They keep assuring us time is an absolute illusion. There's only the moment of now. Yeah. And actually, Chris, it's your own journey. What keeps you driving? What keeps everybody driving, for their success, for their empowerment, for more. That's what it is. Is it the human spirit? We say it's the soul that is pushing you forward. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So it sounds like the past lives of Brad are in his soul. That's his soul that carried from life to life and it entered into this body, this life. And the accident was a catalyst to be able to bring this purpose back to his forefront, why he does everything he does, why he came to this existence.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to get smacked over the head to wake up just a little bit.
Smacked, right? That's the term.
It's incredible, isn't it? What wakes you up? What wakes you up in your life? Some people have subtle awakenings, soft awakenings, whispers that help them get inspired and help them find the answers. And others are like, hey, it's the big megaphone, it's the wall and the bricks tumbling down on you where you're like, holy crap birds. I guess I better, find some solution. Some people a little bit in between, and other people's, Chris, unfortunately, they don't find it at all. And they find at the end of their journey a life of unfulfillment, unsatisfaction, and they usually leave with their last words being, find your inspiration.
Wow. That's incredible. That's the moment when they're in their deathbed. They have all the regrets. They see the picture clearly, and they're like, "Damn, too late."
Yeah. They're like, hey, I'll be back again, and we'll call Julius out early on, and we'll get moving. So.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Kasey, let's talk a little bit more about channeling Julius and how has that experience been for you, and how do you know when Julius is channeling? How do you know when it's just you? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Good question. Chris, everybody channels. That's where your thoughts, inspirational thoughts come from. Athletes call it the zone.
Yeah.
People who go into writing, songwriting, music playing. We're all conduits for higher versions of our own self, away from judgment and away from fear. That's what it is. For trans channels like myself, we have a way, I guess, of kind of stepping our consciousness aside and opening a window for a higher consciousness to be able to utilize our facilities to express themselves. That's what I do. I used to not be able to control it at all. It used to be quite a disruption for me in my life. We had to come to an agreement on that, that's for sure. And so we did. Julius really starts pinging me. They're pinging me now. So they start to ping that we're going to start to get some movement here. And really what's great is they actually kind of wait for my permission. Although, having said that, they are very forthright in their intention. And if I start to deny them access, things can get a little bit nutty for me. So we kind of just learn to cooperate with the pit bull. It's just a little bit easier that way.
All right. Well, was there anything else that you wanted to say before channeling Julius? Any other framing for our audience or anything like that? Because I'm excited just to dive in.
We want everybody to not be afraid. Not be afraid of their gifts. Be afraid of new thought and new possibilities. As long as it's coming with good feelings, you're safe, you're well. Try not to run from the new stuff because you could be missing out on the best part. The absolute best part can be the new stuff.
The new things that are coming to this earthly realm.
And to your life.
Right.
Because you get to make your decisions on how you create through that. So pull your own empowerment out of your arse. And be excited, because no matter what, Master, every experience expands you. And so therefore there is no fear possibility, only creative aspect through the demonstration of your magnificence.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So was that Julius right there? Is it starting to come in?
They're pounds too.
So I want to say something right now, and Julius, I'm excited because I think a lot of people could be in this position where we've been raised with this level of consciousness, and for me, I get to interact with you right in front of me, and it's like expanding my level of awareness that before was just theoretical and hypothetical, and now it's like here, and I get to attract and experience this. It's awesome.
It is awesome, Master. And we feel the same way about you. We are so honored through your enthusiasm, through your intelligence, and through your wisdom to be able to have this platform to display.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So do you feel that everyone should have their own platform to share their message and get their voice out, or are only some people messengers and other people are destined for other types of lifestyles and journeys?
Master, you all are a platform. You are all thought in demonstration of its ongoingness and its potential. Wow. It is that way whether you like it or not. So we encourage you to love it, because as you do, the expansion is amplified.
This is one of the things that the internet has allowed for so many people, where there used to just be a select few who had the opportunity to speak and to give wisdom to people, which kept them almost untouchable. What the internet now does is it opens the door to everybody. And we believe that everybody should have that opportunity.
Master, if you knew that you were always on a platform, always were demonstration, would you choose your thoughts and your feelings wisely?
100%.
Yes. If we allow everybody to know how fully empowered they are, we know that compassion comes forth first. Only anger and control comes forth, Master, when you do not know your empowerment. So you seek your empowerment by destroying another. So after all of this unleashment occurs, healing is massive and transferable. Application is possible.
Is every person on the planet a master?
Everyone is master. We refer to you as source in physical. You are the master of your experience. Only you are creating your experience, though it seems through the illusion that is not a truth. But once we help you break through the illusion that you created for your own self to rediscover and unleash your empowerment, then all things shift for you.
How do I know that, my experience, seeing through my own eyes, I only have my own perspective and experience to come from? Would it matter if it's all a quote unquote matrix and like your perspective is not as real as mine, or does that matter at all or not?
This is the fascinating part, and I'm glad you've asked that question. Because source does not need to duplicate itself.
Yes, in fact, it doesn't desire to, Master. So you are absolutely right. That's why we say all truth is. All truth is. It is the way something feels. And truth comes through your perspective. But what we do tell you, Master, is your perspective always has potential for expanding. To expand your perspective or open the mind, you would be amazed at the accessibility you have for all perspective, and therefore your perspective shifts again. Wow. It is extraordinary. When you are a human embodiment, Master, you live in the limited perspective of individualism. But as you grow your consciousness, the collective truth is accessible to you, and that's where the extraordinary begins.
What is that collective truth, and how do we access it?
The truth, Master, of course, is love, not fear. When you see and know all thought, Master, through the potential of unlimited application, your life shifts, and it is innumerable. We would tell you that fear has such limitation to it. It even has a limitation of demonstration, and mostly your earthship has become that. It becomes controlling, violent, abusive, and extremely limited even in its lifespan demonstration. When thought is perceived through love, that's where all accessibility lives. And someone like yourself is striving for that. Wow. So love is the truth. Now, one would ask, what is the difference between love and fear? And we would say fear has limitation to it. Love has no limitation to it, all allowing. But that means, Master, that you must let go of judgment of all thought. That becomes your spiritual journey.
Wow. Incredible. Another question. I aspire to live forever. Would it limit me to want to remain in this quote unquote 3-dimensional universe instead of going to a higher level of consciousness, love, and oneness, or no? No.
Not at all, Master. We say that there are 7 seals of consciousness, 6 of them achievable here on the 3rd dimensional realm alone. Okay? Those are all perceptions and open-mindedness. But something happens. When you hit different seals of consciousness, Master, your world changes.
Your body changes.
And so does your body. Once you hit the 5th and 6th seal of consciousness, Master, an extraordinary thing happens in your physical embodiment. Kundalini energy is unleashed and it wraps itself up and around the spinal column, hits the rear cerebellum of your head, shoots across your midbrain, and full enlightenment occurs out your frontal lobe. When this happens, a reverse nucleonic spin takes place. It's secreted through your circulatory system, through your spinal fluid, and you rejuvenate your body continually, and you no longer erode. So you may stay as long as you'd like. The great news is once you hit that point, you may also expand the frequency of your physical embodiment, oscillate your energy frequency bandwidths, and ascend off, taking your physical embodiment with you, in which case you may return at any point of desiring. You have had tens of thousands of masters do this.
Yes. The amazing thing, it's in history. There's historical documentation, no matter how they've tried to wipe it out, that people lived for thousands of years, and this is how they did it.
Absolutely.
They became enlightened, and they didn't age. In fact, they changed the aging process so that they did live for thousands of years. We have the ability to do that. That's what the human body is designed to do. Science knows this.
So, Master, your body is thought actualized. The first thing that gets manifested from your thoughts is your body's demonstration of your perception of that thought. And your perceptions have either high vibration or low vibration. Low vibration erodes, high vibration restores. So keep your thoughts high.
How do I know what level? You mentioned 7 seals of consciousness, and I think you mentioned 6 levels of consciousness. Are they the same things or different things?
Yes, they are.
Same things, okay.
Yeah, the six levels, which is easy, that's the easy way to do it, to explain. But the 6 levels are what you can experience here on this earth ship. That's why we as human beings or light beings keep coming back so we can experience those levels of consciousness. The problem has become that the earth has become a realm. It has become dictated and it becomes controlled by other people, which then puts fear in us and doesn't allow us to progress.
Yeah, some realms, Master, deal with one state of consciousness at a time, and souls or light beings traverse to these experiences, and they all collectively are basically in the same arena. Basic same perspective, basic desire to flourish and eliminate a particular type of limitation in their existence. This realm is like a smorgasbord. You know, what do you want? You want hamburgers every single day, or do you want an endless array? So it is so appealing to you as a soul. And on a soul level, you have this conscious awareness state. It's the altered ego that has taken you over and forced you into believing that you are somehow a victim, or somehow this is all dictated by someone or something outside of you that desperately needs to be pleased by you through a narcissistic personality. And you are left at the disadvantage of not understanding this power fully. And so your life becomes frustrating and chaotic and mostly full of sadness, anxiety, and stress.
How do I know what level of consciousness, or our audience, how do we know what level of consciousness we're at, and how do we get to the next level even faster?
Good question, Master. We do have an extraordinary teaching available for that on our website. It really does take quite a lot of investigation, but it is the owner's manual for life. It is fantastic. It will break down the lower 3 seals, which are deeply embedded in aspects of fear. Then there is a bridge, Master, that eliminates judgment in your life and bridges you to the high stages of consciousness and enlightenment. We also teach you how to do that, how to work through it. But in a nutshell, you have to think differently. Do you know, Master, that most human beings have a handful of the same thoughts that they regurgitate over and over and over, even from lifetime to lifetime? Wow. We got to get you out of that damn little box, little triangle, little circle that you live in. And we can do that with you. It's simple, but not easy. But, you know, it's the tough that makes it hard, as Tom Hanks would say.
I'm curious, for people who want to be or are the creators, we're the creators of our reality. For people who create that it can be easy, what's your opinion on that? That's
a perspective, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it easy or hard to perspective?
Yes.
Shift your perspective. It's that easy. You can shift your perspective in a moment. In fact, you do. That's all it takes, usually, for someone to shift their perspective. Doesn't usually take a long time. Usually takes a long time, stuck in one perspective, and then boom, the shift occurs. But what most people don't understand, Master, is they choose that. You choose that. They will say, well, other people forced a perspective on me, and we say, poor you, get out of your shit show. And realize that you allowed that choosing for yourself. This all starts to unleash your empowerment. We understand that people are sometimes at first very angry to get out of victimhood, right? They get stuck in feeling sorry for themselves and angry. And then we say, come on, let's get you away from judging your own self. It doesn't matter anymore, because once your perspective shifts and you start to create differently, all things come to fruition differently in your life.
And here's the ironic part to that. You're angry because you're saying that other people are doing this to you, yet you're the one who has to make the decision to get away from there. They're not making the decision for you to do that. You make the decision. So what we want to do is we want to teach you how to make the right decisions.
The higher version of choices.
Right.
Yeah.
The higher version.
Yeah. You know, Master, it's the best news that we could ever give you is that you make your choices and you are the creator, because then you are the one that can change it. If we told you that you were a victim, you just had to wait your turn, go grab the line, go grab a ticket. Have any of you been to the DMV? Do you know how long it will take you to get served? Okay. When you find your empowerment, that's the key. And that's where the perspective shifts. So you say then, well, how do I shift my perspective? And we say, by knowing that it's you, allow the perspective to shift and you'll become unleashed. As long as you don't get stuck in guilt, blame, regret, and all that anchor that holds you back, we're going to sever that right off and get you moving. Can you imagine if everybody moved? Imagine that. It's on its way.
I love it. Is there a ultimate technique that can help us evolve through each level of consciousness by doing it every day or something like that? Is there anything like that exists, or is it a different set of tools that we have to use at each level?
Well, Master, that is a wonderful question. Thank you for asking that. The truth is that, of course, everybody will find their own way. Having said that, inspirational suggestions can help guide you to what works for you. There are always very, very simple tools, but the beginning component is first thought of the day should be something unlimited. Follow that with another. Follow that with another. End your day. We understand that distraction will take you over, and it is overwhelming. So some people literally set their timers on their phone. At this time, I'm going to have an open-minded thought. At this time, I'm going to see my life differently. At this time, I know my solution is coming. What is the most fantastic thing is this. You see and experience results immediately when you start shifting. You don't have to wait until you hit the sixth seal of consciousness for your life to change. It changes with every thought. So that's your inspiration. You don't have to go through training camp and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. Every single step. We teach you, Master, how to master judgment, meaning eliminate judgment in your life. And that is where the release comes. It takes a lot of work, because most human beings have no idea how much they judge. But it's okay. You know, you have all eternity, Master, and this life is just a moment. How do you choose to spend your moments? That's the question.
Why did we choose this lifetime, and how do I know what kind of a lifetime or time space I would choose for my next life?
You get to choose anything, Master, at any time. That is a truth, because we support that there is no previous or next, but there's the eternal moment of now. What if you're creating this time space for your own self and you were here just a moment ago? What if that's the matrix, Master? What if you live in a holographic deck and so you create this reality for yourself? But more than this, Master, what if this is the truth? You are all one. So every single experience you are having simultaneously. And when you reach a certain state of consciousness, you will have access to that knowing. And then we will tell you, welcome back to being God.
Wow. You mentioned that on our pre-interview call, and now it comes up. I love it. This term of being God, is it the same thing as creator, as master? Are they equal? Because there's such this big concept of God that our society has. What's your
person sitting on the cloud with the golden staff, with the crown on his head and the beard.
Who makes all the decisions.
Fabulous character. We love that image. But Master, we will tell you that our best definition through language would be that God is all thought. All thought, Master, not just thought relevant to the human experience. Now, this is overwhelming to try to perceive, but the sands on the seashore are a great demonstration. Then realizing that that sand goes under the water, then it goes around the earth, then it seeps down into the mantle, and so on. So these are thoughts that you create from. So our best definition of God or source or eternal being or omnipotent power is that it's a substance, Master, that light beings or souls take, feel a certain way about, and then it becomes demonstrated. So you are light beings expanded from thought itself, demonstrating thought to its fullest through your emotional capacity. A soul is an emotional processor of the substance of thought. That makes you God.
Yeah. Now let me expand just a little bit more on that.
Yeah.
Because in the book of books, so to speak, it makes reference to first there was the Word. But you can't have a word without a thought.
That's correct.
Because words are put together through the brain. If your brain was so important, why don't you take it with you when you leave this realm of existence? All the brain does is process thought.
It receives it.
Yeah, it receives
just a
thought.
receiver. It doesn't create thought.
Right.
It receives it.
It receives all the thought. The problem is, as you said earlier, all humans think the same thoughts.
Similar thoughts,
and
yes.
It shows up in the brain. If they dissect human brains, every area in the brain, there's such a small area that they're using.
Right. So, Master, as you know, only about 3% of the brain is in usage by human beings commonly, but it is the same 3%. That's what's extraordinary. As Brad says, if you were to divide the brain and split it in two, what you would find is different pockets of densities of water. And that's because water is the conduit for electricity. The densest and slowest part of the brain with the smallest amount of water in it is what's activated for you. Dumb and slow, dumb and slow. What we don't mean to insult you with that. What we mean is those are fear-based thoughts, Master. When you reach for the extraordinary thoughts, they have a high vibration. They hit the denser, watery portions of your brain, and electricity shoots through, and that's where genius lives. That's where genius lives. All of you are capable of genius. All you have to do is open your mind beyond the current state of thoughts that you accept. Isn't that awesome?
It is awesome.
Anything you want at any time. Just open your minds.
Wow. So to access a higher level of thoughts, is that love? And by thinking more thoughts of love and non-judgment, we're able to access higher frequencies because those parts of our brain light up as we think thoughts of love, tapping into that, kind of like spreading that muscle, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Master, you said the key word, it's judgment. Do you know how much you judge thought? You judge it. Thoughts are bouncing all around you, but you let in the ones that are familiar. You only let your friends with the kegs in at the party. You don't let anybody else come in. And yet they may be bringing extraordinary gifts. But all you want to do is get drunk with the same beer brand that you're used to. That's what thoughts are like. So we teach you accessibility without fear, and you get an unleashment of potential. What's great game is to sit around with your friends and play a new thought game. New thought game. One of you has to come up with something crazy. Doesn't make any sense. Next person takes that thought and expands upon it. You know the game. You played it in kindergarten, right? And by the time it makes itself back around the circle, it's a whole new thing. That is a new thought game. It seems like it's a waste, but it's not.
But what's so amazing
your head starts to hurt.
And most people can't even finish the game.
Yeah.
Because they don't even know what a new thought
What's
is.
a new thought look like? And we say, you know what? Go to a museum, a children's museum, and take a look at a painting and realize that that is the demonstration of the way a child felt about any given thought. And you gaze upon it. And you see what it stimulates in you for your thoughts, and you're in the game. You're in the game. You have all had extraordinary creative demonstrations here on this Earth ship that you designed to put here to inspire further thought and creativity, but instead you accepted it as absolute truth and you stopped. And you stopped. And then you argued about which tree is actually a tree. Okay? And we say, well, those trees are all trees. Now, why don't you become a new tree and show us something new? And you say, oh, no, that's already been done. It's done. And we say, thought's never done. It's source. Source is never, ever done. Fun game, huh? Shall we invite you to play with us sometime?
Yes. Yes. Wow, this is beautiful. So tell us a little bit more about this training and how it works and how it's different than, other trainings that might be available, just for people who are curious about that kind of thing.
Trainings come with no requirement, Master, and no judgment themselves. That's what makes them different. There's no agenda and there's no requirement. That's what makes them different. We allow you to be unleashed, to unravel yourself.
The program is intense. It's a 3-day intensive program.
Referring to our factory, Master, we aid you in decrusting your thought matrix grid. So basically what has happened is this. You've gone through your whole life with extremely limited perspective. And energetically, you have this thought matrix grid that lives all around you and through you. And this filter starts to get clogged with the vibration of fear. You're really walking around with a veil. Come on, you've heard that term. Yep. The veil that is so black and dark. It actually wasn't designed to be a veil at all. It's a grid. It's an open gridding system. So when you start on your conscious journey and you start doing all this great work and you're aligning your chakras and you've got the Zen thing going on and you hit a ceiling and you keep bouncing back. It's like, I can make great leaps and bounds in some areas of my life. I keep falling back to old patterns. Don't know what that is. It could be that your grid is so encrusted, needs to be cleaned. So you come here with us and we aid you in energetically cleaning your gridding system off. It's a 3-day intensive program that you get to create through. When you leave, you feel very good, very high vibration. But what you see, Master, is as your life plays itself out from here, change is occurring. First, it's subtle changes and then massive changes. We have reports from students where relationships seem to finally be working, like somebody sent out a memo to everybody else in my life that this is changing for us. Miraculous things show up. Money starts to show up. Things, cosmic tumblers start to click into place. Then students want to come back for more. And we say, okay, let's go manifestation. Let's go healing. Let's go love. Let's go anything you want. So it is a program that is both, Master, spiritual and scientific. Science support that there is a grid system around anything that holds matter. And since your physical embodiment does, it holds a gridding system. But that is governed through your thoughts and your feelings, which comes from your soul. When we all learn to blend them both, exquisite music, Master. We're going to help you hear your tone, rejoin the orchestra, and play music for the rest of your existence.
It's beautiful. Something that came to mind is everyone has a different perspective and a different way of sharing their information. And there's other people who are probably sharing about non-judgment and love and that kind of philosophy. Why would we choose to go with Julius, you, versus another channel or another teacher or something like that? What makes you different? And I'm sure everyone has their own perspective, but there is the ultimate truth. So I'm curious on what your thoughts are about that.
Thank you for asking that question. We suppose, Master, it's an energetic alignment like everybody in your life. Yeah. We promise to let you go. How about that? Isn't that awesome?
Yes.
We don't need to keep you for anything. That's probably the biggest difference.
Wow.
We're going to turn you out. So
Master, we don't want you hanging around. I'm sorry, I'm going to say, We don't want you hanging around stinking up the place.
That's not what
Okay?
what we mean is we don't need to know.
We don't need to know all of that.
We don't need to know that we are God, Master.
Right.
We need you to know that you are.
That's what we're doing, is teaching you
So
to
that
learn how powerful.
everyone can know. So everyone can know. Okay? Once you become all that you are, you teach through demonstration. You teach through demonstration. Natural teaching occurs because when you hit your potential of non-judgment, Master, you are continually in bliss, literally. You are vibrating. You have this extraordinary about you. And people are drawn and they want to know your secret. And you say, do your joy, do your non-judgment. It spreads like wildfire. So really, it is the resolution for everyone to know themselves.
The other thing that makes us different from so many others is Julius has been human.
That is the truth.
The group Julius have all been human. They've all mastered the human existence. And so what we teach is the mastering of being human and going back to light.
Yeah, we strive to help you with very relevant things going on in your life, Master, because we understand you. We have been the wretched. We have been the righteous. Now we are the enlightened. So we think to ourselves, would you like to learn from somebody who has studied the books, studies other people's truths, studied other people's experiences and passing that on you? Or would you like to experience or be reminded by one who has done all of that with you? Yeah. That's what we find consistent with our students, is the resonance is in alignment because we relate to you and all of your challenges.
So, what number of human beings is Julius? Like what past lives or past human beings? What the collective? How many is it?
There is no number at this time, Master, for we are all one.
Yes,
that is the truth. We know you love that answer.
So
it is a collection of experience through all time on the physical realm, Master. That is a truth. So we could tell you that there were number counts, 5, 10, 15, 150, 200. At this point, Master, we usually refer to ourselves as we because we fully recognize that we are all source. We are all source. If we gave you a number count, that means we would have an aspect of limitation to our number. And we do.
Wow. So if you are all source, then it's all potentialities, all possibilities that has access to the unlimitedness, meaning like nobody is joining or leaving at any time because it's just always that oneness tapped into that flowing through Kasey.
Right. So what's interesting too, though, is there really are no numbers. Right. So numbers are relative to physical, Master. They're measurements of physical components, universes, galaxies, omniverses, telestars, anything that holds any kind of physicality to it. Your science believes that there's a numerical count that ties all of this together. We will tell you, though, that thought goes much higher than that.
That's what Einstein was actually working on, was the fact that that number was indefinite.
Yeah.
So it did not exist when he died.
Right.
And that's why it was never finished.
Well, what he was working on was proving existence above that component. And at what point do numbers engage? That is what he was working on. That's what he referred to as the void, or the point zero aspect, which is engagement of matter, engagement of thought, polarized. So matter comes into play when positive and negative ion gastric intermingling takes place, and then matter starts to adhere to a slowing down component. But he knew at the core essence of his being that all of that comes from an energy frequency that is immeasurable. But trying to find a way to define that through the scientific world was very challenging, but no worries, he will be back.
Wow, amazing. As Kasey learns more and experiences more, and because right now, Julius, you're limitless, And there's a certain set of words and patterns of speaking that are coming through Kasey. As Kasey learns more, are you able to more effectively channel and communicate through her? Or is the potential and the exact words that you want to use all the time, you're like spot on and nothing will change through Kasey's communication?
Well, there's always a deciphering system.
There's usually not enough human words
There's never
to
enough.
explain everything. Words are late.
They're late. They're late to thought, Master. They're late to thought. So given that truth, and thank you for asking that question as well, there is a filtering system. Anything through physical comes with a filter system. That is the truth. What she sees, she feels our thoughts. She feels our thoughts. And then has to find words accessible to her to try to describe, as you all do. Eventually, as you raise your consciousness, and all beings do, you won't need to speak. You will just demonstrate. Eventually, words will disappear once again on this realm.
Yeah, there are planes of existence where we call it telepathy, where you communicate just merely through thought.
Yeah, thoughts and feelings. Empaths are on their way to that. So for empathic beings here on this Earthship that find it a huge challenge because they actually can pick up on another's feelings. And unfortunately, other people's feelings are usually very low and slow and limited. So that becomes somewhat torturous for empaths at most of the experiences. But that is actually on its way to mastery because it is a no-fault system of understanding, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you can tap into your thoughts and your feelings, I understand you. I understand you. I honor you. I nurture you. And then when those forms of communications don't have fault, you divided yourself up to cause fault, fear, and separation so that you could control. But when that need goes away, when everyone knows their empowerment, the need is left way behind with fear. And potential is allowed, heaven on earth.
Wow, that's amazing. I love this. This is an amazing conversation. So what else do you think our audience needs to know? What do they need to hear or realize or get to be able to access their empowerment?
There are two things that human beings are afraid of. And everything in your life revolves around those two things. The first one is that you're going to die. You are so afraid that you're going to die, that you're going to run out of time. Okay?
Creates all the stress and anxiety. In
all
your life.
that stress. Well, let's get that. You don't die, man.
Never.
You just continue into a new existence. So let's get that off the table. Okay? And the other one is how powerful you are. And if we can get you to learn how powerful you are
and not be afraid,
it totally changes who you are. And it changes your life.
Isn't that cool? Only two things you got to work on. Only two things.
Oh my gosh. So we're afraid of our power.
Of course.
Of course we are.
Because for so many things, but mostly it has been embedded in you that you would be punished for the blasphemy against the Lord, that is the all-empowerment, because he is narcissistic and he definitively will punish anyone who believes themselves higher than him. And this is not a minuscule belief. This is embedment, okay? And this has come through centuries of lives, whether you believe that you are reoccurring or not, it is a truth. And this embeddedment sits in the energy field in you and around you. That's why people falter and play the go-between game. Oh yeah, I'm going into spirituality, but Mom is coming on Sunday, so we better go to church. So everybody get dressed up, because I will be judged if I dare think differently. And this is about where humans get stuck. They start to tap into an aspect of knowing, which, by the way, is the third level of consciousness, where they start to feel like there's more. There's more, but there's this innate fear of being accepted and judged because they see the punishment. You know, Master, the worst punishment for human beings is isolation. Not even being beaten to death. At least there was somebody in the room with you when that was occurring. Okay? Isolation is the worst punishment. It's the worst punishment for a child, and it's the worst punishment for an adult. And the fear of isolation, because you think differently, will cause you to retract or hold it in. And anytime you hold back thought and emotion, disease and chronic conditions start to develop. It's an ongoing pattern here on this realm. You know, when you first came, light beings first developed everything on this realm. And once you developed this extraordinary playing field, you were dying to play upon it. And so your own physical embodiment was the last thing that you conjured, because you could not dance upon the realm master as light, because light passes through matter. So you inserted yourself into this grotesque, quite frankly, physical embodiment the first time around. You weren't very happy looking. You were hunched over, big head, eyes on the sides of your head face. And you lived for a long time. You knew who you were. And everything was joyous. Everything was joyous.
But you got to experience it.
Yeah. And you didn't have all of these ideas of not and can't and won't and shouldn't. Okay. And it was paradise at that time. Once all the fears of competition started to encroach upon you, it was your downfall. We will say that that's when Eve ate the apple, so to speak, is when competition engaged, okay? And that's when limitation started to take place. You lost your first physical embodiment first round in a life cycle by being gobbled up by something else that you had created. And your last thought as you left the physical realm was, oh shit, I should have made myself a little bit faster than that being that I made. And so within 2 life cycles, you grew longer legs. That's how your DNA shifts, is through thought, okay? What is really, really extraordinary is your embodiments are so refined. Oh, if you knew what you could make your body do when your whole brain is ignited, but you didn't keep your conscious growth up. You're way out of balance, way out of balance. So by working your state of consciousness, you unleash this physical demonstration of actualized thought. And as you said, perhaps at that time, lifespans will return to tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years. We can already hear your audience say, well, I don't like the body that I'm in right now. Well, I can change it.
Yes.
You created it the way it is now. Change it. And when you get to a stage of consciousness, well, just with a thought, you can change your body, Master. What if we told you you could be a black woman in Lithuania if you wanted to be right now? And you would say, no way. And we say, you are always right. You are the master of your reality. Right?
Yes.
So as we get you accepting more, we do many teachings, Master, on broadening your acceptance, because you cannot have what you do not accept. But most human beings don't even know what it feels like to accept something. We refine your emotional process with you. Let your soul speak. Let it be heard. You have been stifled. You have turned it off. This is quite important when it comes to the soul governing your life rather than the altered ego that has extracted emotions away from you. One of the worst things that you were ever told, Master, was that you have a soul. You are a soul, Master, and you have a body. When you shift into that perspective, potential lies.
And aren't I a soul connected to all other souls? So in reality, we're
all really
one soul.
Paradox. That's the paradox.
But it really does explain everything, because everybody has craziness, don't they?
Yeah.
They have crazy dreams, they have crazy experiences, and you come collectively and you try to inspire each other with your experience declaration, and you shoot each other down. That doesn't make sense. That cannot be logical. It could not occur.
Or we have to be separate.
You must. Okay. And that just shoots everybody down. And they say, but I think it, but I feel it. It must be. And they say, no, that's fantasy. That's imagination. And that's not real. And we say, do you know that you cannot have a thought that isn't real? Your brain is the receiver of thought, and all thought is. So whatever you think about is somewhere. What about that? That helps you be open-minded. And again, as we said earlier, helps you to stop rejecting thought or judging thought. What if you never were turned down when you were a child, Chris? When you were a child and you were running around and your mother thought you were crazy and you were hyperactive and you were driving her crazy, okay? And you must pay attention in school, and your teacher is unhappy with you because you're not paying attention and you're disruptive, okay? And you said, but I have thoughts. I have thoughts. And what the teacher teaches is so limiting, and your mother says you must obey. What if we didn't do that? What if we said, you are correct, teach us, show us, allow us to feel? Do you have any idea how crazy the earth shift would be with love? With love. Right now, it's just crazy with fear. Which do you prefer? Haven't you done fear long enough? Haven't you mastered it? All of your pain and your suffering and your anger and your control and your greed and your death. You have mastered fear. It is time to master love and to not be afraid of love. You've been taught to be afraid of love. You've been taught that you will be punished for all eternity for allowing, which is another wonderful word for love. What if you gave yourself permission and then showed everyone else the potential of that? That's the change you are searching for.
Amazing. Okay, so we're beginning to wrap up here, and this has been so juicy. I'm going to go back and listen to this and just soak up more of the wisdom and the juice that's been here. Let's wrap it up with a final takeaways or call to action, whatever we feel compelled to share, and then how can people stay connected with you, and what do we want them to do next?
First takeaway, of course, is we actually are offering you a whole course. Your listeners get 6 video download course, a whole course from us for free, just because we love you so much.
Wow, thank you
so much. So we will give you that. But masters, if every single morning you made a decision to step away from fear just one time in your day, to catch yourself in panic, in reactiveness, in scarcity, and in fear, and to halt it and to say, no, I will no longer buy into this limitation. I'm going to breathe, I'm going to center myself, and I'm going to step right over here. And I'm just going to see this one fear differently. And you're going to literally feel a release that moves through your body in that moment. Just one a day, and then it'll be 2, and then it'll be 3. Do you know that's how you climbed into fear? You did it one fear at a time. So you can conquer it one love at a time. Pretty soon you're just going to want it all. You're just going to move through it. Please do it. Please. Because for every step that you expand your consciousness, masters, ours expands expeditedly as well, because we are all one. So please move. Please. And if we can lead you, at least for a little while, we invite you in our arena.
Wow. Thank you. Brad,
you can go to our website, Expand with Julius, EXPAND, with Julius.com. There's a link that is on that website for a program on your empowerment.
Yeah, it is, if I may say it to you, https://expand, JULI.us/burn-it-up.
Got it.
I emailed that to you earlier. So.
Okay. We'll have that in the show notes and share it.
That's a full course. That's not a little tiny tidbit.
It's a full course. It's one of our courses on on empowerment.
Yeah. We have live courses taking place. In fact, we have a class going on in another hour that people can get in on if they'd like. But there's so much stuff there. You can check out our factory if you will. Please do. There's a wonderful video for everybody to watch of me channeling Julius explaining the R Factoring program. But at the very least, just sign up for our newsletter. We'll keep in touch with you. We will not bombard you, we promise. We will just keep in touch with you.
The thing about our newsletters, Chris, is we put out a lot of information in our newsletters. There's videos, there's articles. It's just merely to keep you up to date with what we have going on.
Yeah, and we also do have a monthly free show. So everybody climb on.
Wow, amazing. Kasey, Brad, Julius, thank you so much for being here, sharing with our audience, and I'm excited to see with this continued sharing what we'll create in the world. I'm excited to be a part of it, and I promise you I'm going to be more aware of my judgments, let them go, step more into my courage and the power of love everywhere I go. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you soon, okay?
Hey.
All right. Take care.